For Florida, that coral finger dipped in blue, tomorrow has come swiftly. It has come swiftly on wingless missiles at Cape Kennedy. It has come on the wheels of thousands of tourists, and with those seeking new homes among the palms and pines. It has come in great turnpikes and expressways. It has come in vast orange groves, creeping over the hills of central Florida like the tides of the sea. It has come in acres of new factories and cities bursting with people and problems. And the future has come to the University of Florida, alive with over 16,000 young men and women, each eagerly seeking his own particular doorway into tomorrow, his own special road to the moon. Florida's and America's road to the moon doesn't begin here. It begins here. It begins in the mind, the heart, the conscience, the ambitions and the strengths of young people. And so the real story on a university campus these days is not a story of technology or buildings or test tubes. It is a story of people, of students and what they make of themselves in a few short years. At this point, higher education comes face to face with its greatest challenge and its greatest opportunity. How well it succeeds will determine the role of our state in the nation and our nation in the world. How do we go about this shaping of the individual on the college campus? At the University of Florida, first comes summer orientation for many students.
Honorable buildings on the campus. It's important to you that you keep in close touch with your lower division counselors. They know better than anyone else what you need at this particular time. They can give you excellent counsel about the number of hours you should take, about the courses you should be taking, and after you have been through the first year and are part of the way through the second year, you can begin then to look up our advisors in the upper division. It isn't that we aren't interested in you right now, it is simply that the counselor of the lower division is somewhat better prepared to take care of your needs at this particular time.
And parents need orientation too.
We have admitted students to the university that we are confident can succeed at the university. But we have various kinds of students coming here, some with superior ability, some with moderate ability. And we must be practical in our expectations of what these students can do in their very first experience in college, which here or anywhere is a very new experience. And I would like to encourage you parents to take the point of view that if your student gets through the first semester at the university with a strong C average, be glad. But let us not be too demanding in our expectations, and we hope that with good work, he'll do better.
Every entering freshman enrolls in the university college where he spends his first 2 years. Here, the courses are designed to acquaint students with the history and development of human society. With the principal concepts in the biological sciences, the physical sciences, with the knowledge of the artistic and literary heritage of Western man. Dr. Graeffe likes to hold informal discussions in his home, using his own art collection to illustrate his points. In the University College Writing Lab, the student improves his communication skills. The focus of attention in the University College is the student, says Dr. Byron S. Hollinshead, Dean of the college, as he discusses the college and its program with a group of students at a fraternity discussion session. Let's listen in.
History. Dean, we sometimes hear that students at other institutions aren't required to take as much in the way of a general education as our students at the University of Florida. Do you find this to be true?
It's true particularly that in most state universities, or at least in many state universities, the requirements for general education aren't quite as heavy as they are at the University of Florida. On the other hand, the requirements in most liberal arts colleges are higher than they are here, and the requirements here are higher in the Arts and Sciences College than they are in the other colleges.
You mean, Dean, that all institutions have requirements in general education?
Well, yes, all institutions have requirements in general education, but these requirements take different forms. In many institutions, the requirement is a distribution among a variety of fields, such as social sciences, biological sciences, physical sciences, and humanities. And the students will take the beginning course in those fields with the idea that this will give him a kind of superficial knowledge of that field. Now, we think it's better if he takes a C course, which gives a comprehensive knowledge of a field. For example, our C1, American institutions, includes sociology, it includes economics, history, anthropology, all in the one course, showing the relationships of all of these fields in the history of American institutions.
Dean, during the first 2 years, how much of the student's time is taken up with these C courses?
Well, it's about 36 hours altogether, and this is roughly 1/4 of the total student work. The rest of it, the other 3 years, are given up to specialization of one sort or another, except in arts and sciences. This is about a normal requirement, I would say, and it's broken only in cases like these, where students are sure that they're going into a given field, say engineering. We will allow them to substitute physics and chemistry for our C2 course in the physical sciences, and the engineers don't take our course in mathematics because they'll get a lot of mathematics as engineers.
I know these courses are designed to improve my general background as a person and student, and they're valuable, I admit. But is there any evidence to show that students who have taken these C courses do better than students at other institutions?
Well, I think the real proof of the value of C courses, the value of University College, is shown more by the medical aptitude test, the legal aptitude test, the graduate record examinations, than by any other means. For example, I just saw this last week, the scores made by 50 state universities, one in each state, and the University of Florida was in the top 20% of these 50 universities, all fairly comparable institutions. And I think the reason for that is that the University of Florida students were well chosen in the first place. They were highly selected.
One of the standing jokes on campus is that the student is lost among the masses unless he bends his ID card. The card won't fit properly into the machines, and the student is brought to the attention of the administration. Of course, in a large university, a student can be just a number if he wants it that way. But on the other hand, any student wanting help can get it. All he has to do is ask. At the University of Florida, the students are recognized as vital human beings and not just numbers. The university today offers so many pathways to knowledge that almost every student needs some kind of academic counseling. Students need expert help in choosing their upper division college. Many students entering the university have no idea about their major, or they have a false idea about it. Many students are making a difficult transition from a relatively easy high school life into a complex and highly competitive situation. Some have personal problems which severely handicap them in their academic performance. Sometimes these problems are like a brick wall. But beyond the wall, effective counseling is available in the modern university. Let's see how it works.
In moving on to your pre-med major, I noticed that you've had 2 courses in the chemistry, so you ought to be ready for the 3rd one, Chemistry 220.
Yes, sir.
Now, that'll be 4 hours. You finished your mathematics. You're ready to go on into the humanities course. Do you want to take the honors humanities?
Yes, sir, I would like to.
Okay, good.
Is it going to be set up the same way as the English course was?
Yeah, pretty much the same way. You are ready to go on into either comparative anatomy or embryology to move you on to your pre-med major. Which of those do you think you'd rather start with?
I think I would rather take embryology. It is a lab course, isn't it?
Now, you know, this is going to mean that you've got a lab in the chemistry and a lab in the embryology, and you need to keep that in mind when you're thinking about your time. You are going to need a foreign language, of course, to get your degree. Which foreign language do you prefer?
I think I'd rather take French. The way I understand it, French does count toward a degree in sciences. And I did have French in high school.
Do you feel as though you did well enough in the French in high school so that you could start in the 2nd French course rather than the 1st one?
Yes, sir, but it was a long time ago that I took the French. It was in the 9th grade.
Well, do you think you remember enough of it to start?
I don't know. I really don't.
Well, I think what we'll do is put you down for the 2nd course, and then when the placement test in French is given in the fall, you take it, and if we have to make a change, we can do so at that time.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so Frank.
Many students, as they enter college, or even after they have been enrolled for a year or more, oftentimes are still undecided about what to do with their lives from a career standpoint. They may think about law, agriculture, journalism, a business career, engineering, architecture, medicine, forestry, pharmacy, teaching, nursing, public recreation, health-related services. They may want careers in public administration, sociology, or the sciences that grow out of majors in the College of Arts and Sciences. Students who are doubtful about where their aptitudes and interests are strongest can turn to vocational testing and counseling for help.
We have the results back on the number of tests that you took. I think we might be best by beginning with the interest test and taking a look at it. Usually, we figure that anything that has an A rating or higher, way up high in the A's, or even a B plus, is worth considering. Things that are B and B minus and so on, you wouldn't choose on the basis of interest, although you might pick them for some other reason. As you can see here, you have artist, psychologist, architect, any of which would be good on the basis of interest. Why don't we, for a minute, stop? We'll come back to this and take a look at some of the interest stuff also. But I think just based on this number of high interests that you have, it might be useful to take a look at some of your aptitudes, some of your strong points in terms of academic work.
There are other kinds of counseling available at the University of Florida. It has been estimated that a college student will read more than 8 million words during his academic life. If he has difficulty doing this, he can get help to improve his reading speed and comprehension. Here's the way it works when the reading clinic comes into his life.
I don't know how much of this you're familiar with, George, but the pattern of your scores simply seems to indicate that your rate of reading is the major problem. Your comprehension, as you see, 74th and 65th percentile in 2 different measures. Your study methods are adequate. Your planning, self-organization, so on. And then this other scale of your knowledge of how to use your reading in various situations in all sections is quite adequate. I think what we should do, perhaps, is to work on that major skill of rate of reading. There are these controlled reading devices which will enable you to practice reading in relatively simple materials and see what kind of progress we can make. I can't guarantee that you'll read your textbooks 10 times faster than you're reading them now, as some would tell you, but I think in a month or 2 we can show some real progress.
The road to the moon gets pretty rocky for some students who find adjusting from a sheltered home life to campus competition more than they bargained for. Young people can develop greatly through personal counseling these days. Dr. Martin explains it this way.
In psychology, this is a situation where a young woman's been experiencing considerable conflict and anxiety, some depression, because of her very unrealistic expectations for academic excellence. What we're trying to accomplish in this portion of the interview was to help her determine her feelings about what would happen if she continued to pursue this kind of direction. Sue, on the basis of what you've been telling me, I wonder why it's so important for you to get 95s and 96s instead of just A's.
Because that's not good enough.
Good enough how? For whom?
For me.
Is that the same way when you're with people? It's not good enough unless it's perfect?
I'm not with people very much.
Why aren't you?
Because I spend all my time studying to get 99.
Sue, do your parents expect you to get these kind of grades in order to be a worthwhile person?
I don't know what to expect.
Is it important to you, what they expect?
No, not anymore.
The only really important thing, then, is for you to be the absolute best in every course you take, even though you may not be interested in it.
The best I can be.
And when you fail, then what?
Then I didn't work hard enough.
And how does this make you feel inside?
Not too good.
Feel like you're worthless, that you're a worthless person?
Just that I goofed up and I'll have to try harder next time.
Pull yourself further away from people, further into your 4 walls of your study room?
It takes a lot of time to study.
To get the kind of grades you want?
Yeah.
Does that necessarily mean that you have learning and understanding to do that? Or does it give you personal pride?
Self-esteem.
Is that what you want out of school, self-esteem?
Yeah, I think so.
And that's more important than being a happy person, for example.
That word doesn't mean anything to me. Happy.
You don't even know what it's like to feel good. It's not important.
I just think it's a pipe dream of some kind. It doesn't exist.
That's the only thing worthwhile, the things that have to be worked hard and diligently for, and suffered with.
Hmm. You get rewards for it.
What, A's?
Mm-hmm.
Can you eat them?
Eventually, I hope they'll lead to something that I can eat.
Do A's help you get married, for example?
No, they don't.
Help you meet people?
No, people don't like people who make A's.
You start taking some pride in that statement.
I guess I'd rather have A's than people liking me.
Student health is important in the achievement of an educational goal. Individual health is aided through the Intramural sports program. Every student has an opportunity to participate in individual or group athletic activity. These programs run throughout the year and provide ample opportunity for exercise and recreation in competitive games. It's one of the largest sports programs in the nation. Sports reminds us of football and the rising football fortunes at the University of Florida. Coach Ray Graves says football provides a soul for the university, a kind of rallying point for devotion to the institution that pays off in many ways.
We're proud to have you here, and believe me, you do represent the finest in the combination of athletics and academics. Now, I know you're aware of the standards you met to gain entrance to this university, but you should be encouraged, and the statistics prove an extremely high percentage of our boys who admitted here on football scholarship at Florida complete their college careers and graduate. Now, playing football for the state's largest university can prove to be a decided advantage to you in later life. The spotlight of public attention will be on you from now on. By your progress in football, you can gain recognition that few obtain. However, being in the public eye charges you with a responsibility greater than the average student. What you do as a football player is news all over the state and the South. When the average student fails to make the grade academically or in other areas, it is in vital concern only the person involved and those of close relationship. But when a football player encounters such failure, it is considered worthy of public notice. So you have an opportunity and an obligation as a Florida football player.
The University of Florida as a whole, as well as Coach Ray Graves, is interested in each student making the grade. And the campus environment has a great deal to do with how high each student sets his goals of personal and professional achievement. Whether he aims for the moon and the stars, or only the ground at his feet. That's why great teaching is important. And that's why the campus should be a place of beauty and inspiration. Beauty can be a thing of stone. It can be a vaulted room in a library. It can be a landscaped campus of trees and flowers. Knowledge can be a disturbing thing as it opens up new doors and brings new ideas. More and more students turn to the student churches and religious centers for guidance, counseling, and a deeper look within themselves. Education and the road to the moon on a college campus today come from total life experience, not from an ivory tower. Students learn from one another, in groups in dormitories, sorority houses, fraternity houses. Students learn from work in student government. They learn while working on student publications. They learn discipline and the pride that comes from serving their country in military activities. They learn from concerts. From convocations on scholarship and religion held each year. The college community is not a place where a boy or girl goes to hide, out of contact with life for 3 or 4 years. It is not a sheltered place, but one where the student learns life and prepares for his place in life by learning to work with other people. College years are joyous years. Friendships are developed that last a lifetime. Learning is an exciting and joyous experience, a powerful stimulant. Students thrill to new ideas, to the opening of new doors, to exploration into the unknown. Have you ever wondered what a university president thinks of all this as he observes the campus scene? Dr. J. Wayne Reitz, president of the University of Florida, can tell us.
Yes, I should like to answer that question. To me, it is a wonderful thing that the people of Florida, expressing their faith in the youth of this state, have provided here at the university an outstanding institution of higher learning. It is designed here to help every youth to find his way into the future. Every day, I like to think of this campus and the people here as being a symbol of those who care for students as individuals, who recognize that a university is not like a factory, that we do not chug out degrees as one does in a manufacturing plant. Sometimes we do not realize that thousands of hours are spent each week here by teachers and counselors and administrators in assisting the individual student in his academic and personal problems. And this is as it should be. This road to the moon we are talking about is just that. It begins here, and for these students who on this campus are seeking high intellectual adventures.